We are the prideful ones.
A show where small business owners come to tell their story.
So it's interesting that I don't know, your dad ran it for 35 years before he took over.
Yeah, if not a little bit more, but until he was an official company, because before he had it as a side gig. I worked with him forever, but like before that, he had a job. He had a normal 9-to-5 job, and then he had a side gig where he would go to Pasadena and clean a couple of condominium homes, and that's how he started it. Until he couldn't anymore. He had too many side jobs that he took vacation from his OG job, and he never went back.
That's cool.
Yeah, but fuck, since I was born, man, I don't remember him
not doing it.
Not doing it, yeah. Of course, you know, you're 17, you've worked with your dad since you were 9, 10, because we all worked with him. You know, he used to do janitorial, buildings and stuff. So if we were on vacation, we were working with him. It got to the point where I got fed up, you know. Ego got in the way, pride. I didn't want to work with them anymore. So, you know, I went off and did my own for a little bit. And then he set me up kind of with a manager that he knew to go work with him instead of working where I was at. Our family business has been our family business forever. We've all worked there. So it just ends up being the way it is because shit, from day one, it's all we knew. It's all we knew. His company, his business. For a long time, he was a sole proprietor, and after a while, started working with the other company with property management, and I saw how they were doing things. I was like, man, you got to become a corporation, you know. And sometimes him and my mom would go back and forth, no, this and that. I'm like, dude, if you guys go start S corp, like I've looked into it. This is how it's done. That's how you pay less taxes. Because my dad was paying taxes up the ass every single year. Like, you know, the accountant that they had off of Alvarado Street would always taking them, you know, just keeping it that way for him. He's a sole proprietor.
Not really guiding him. Not really
guiding him because he probably didn't want to mess with it, or
he didn't have the experience,
or he probably brought it up to him, but he got shut down right away by my dad because he said, no, I've been doing this for 10 years already like this. I don't need to do it any other way. Like, you know, like, but, you know, after me explaining it to him a couple of times, he probably got into it and like, well, maybe we'll look into it. And that kind of cracked it and started, you know, him thinking about it, asking about it. Then the accountant passed away, unfortunately. So they had to find someone new. And that new person kind of told him, like, yeah, you guys have been doing this. What are you doing? Like, you guys aren't doing this right. Like, if you start an S corporation and then, you know, like my mom never worked her social until after, like, she went 40 years without using her social security.
All those years she wasn't. Wow.
Just my dad, and all the money was going towards my dad's social security, and he was getting taxed on it big time. Until finally, it got around to them, and they started the corporation. You know, they did it legit. My mom's on the board. Everyone that worked, you know, with him. And he saw how tax bracket changed.
But do you think that it happened this way? Like, do you think it was for the better? Like that it took this path, or do you wish that, you know, they would have done it sooner? And
oh, of course, sooner, man, because every time even now, we have to pay taxes, right? But you're not in the same tax bracket as in a corporation where, you know, a lot more things get deducted. I don't know how he was paying himself, if they were just taking money. And I think that's what the problem was, that he wanted control of the money and he didn't want to have to have a salary or have to, you know, he wanted to move cash around like before. But, you know, it's harder to move cash around in a corporation, right? You can't just say, oh, I'm taking a withdrawal of $20,000 today because I'm going to buy this, or, you know, it's harder to move the money around that way.
But the business model has changed. Now you guys,
it's more structural because, you know, I kind of want it that way, and I kind of helped them to secure it, and he's kind of seen it where it works better, you know. But when you have someone that way, that that's just used to a certain way and don't want to change it. Like he still goes to that certain breakfast spot and orders the same thing every single time. You know, he won't change it around. And you kind of think about like, man, he's been coming here for years and he's never tried the eggs Benedicts because he doesn't know how to pronounce it probably or something, you know, but they're just old school that way, man.
Yeah.
And it's difficult just because they're the way that they are, you know?
Yeah. And I think the day will come where we're going to be seen as old school, right?
Yeah, well, we already are seen by old school, you know, from our kids or, you know, other people that say, what? Like, I brought it up the other day. I'm like, man, you know, like there's a new song that, you know, Little Flip used to sing and someone else remade it. And I was like, that's an old school song. And I was like, what? Yeah, like, that's an old school song. Like that, I was bumping that in my car in 04 and now it came back and now they like it again, but someone else sings it, you know? So
everything comes back full circle.
Full circle.
of course, man.
With new flavor.
A little twist to things, but like I think we just got to help everyone just change the way of their thinking and kind of, you know, update. You got to update things like, you know, your phones, computer software. You can't do invoices by hand anymore. Like I remember we started doing invoices by the typewriter. We would do invoicing typewriters, and then one of my uncles came through with, you know, and we went to Costco and got a computer finally. Yeah. And, you know, we bought the Works, you know.
Microsoft Word.
It wasn't even Microsoft Works back then. It was just Works or something like that. And, you know, we did the template and we would just do all the invoices like that, one over another, and just copy, you know, save as. And
I remember helping you guys with formatting some of that stuff back in the 90s. And
until this day, he does. Like, I finally bought a program. I said, we're going to do the invoices in this program. QuickBooks. Like I was using QuickBooks before, like, you know, just using it and found it so easy. I told him, look, I can tell you who owes money and who doesn't owe money, like who's paid and who hasn't paid, how many invoices that you've done for, you know, sweeping, you know, and other things. So,
you know, and I think that we still have to respect the hustle, the you know, all the backbreaking, you know, hours that they put into starting this thing, right?
Of course, because they started from the bottom, man.
Yeah. So you guys coming in and of course it's the right thing to do, right? You come in, modernize the business, you know, bring in new tools to make everything easier, simpler, you know, just more efficient. But you can't take that away from them. Like that, at the end of the day, it's because of them that this even exists, right? Yeah, so I'm like, there's a phone ringing?
No. But I kind of heard the first episode with you saying how that company just, you know, the firearms just kind of fell in you and your dad's arms and kind of took it from there. But
yeah, it was literally like one day I'm selling auto parts and the next day I'm upstairs figuring out how to receive guns, how to enter them into what we call the A&D book. Mm-hmm. All the like the paperwork side of it, the administrative side of it, because it was literally, we're closing Western Auto and now we're taking over the gun shop from my dad's partner, and we got to figure this out and learn how to use it. And my dad was basically like, it's your job to learn how to do it, and then you're going to show me how to do it.
He put it on you, right? Like, you got to do it and you got to learn and this and that. But
here we are. What'd you say? 15 years later?
Yeah. I'm doing some of that myself too with Sean, right? So there's certain services that we do, that we offer here, that I guess I'm becoming like the you know, your pops, right? Where I'm like, I'm not trying to learn a new trick. You know, you figure this out and you take care of this. Going forward, you're responsible for this, whatever it is. And I don't see anything wrong with that, to be honest with you, because I think that I feel like my prime years of, you know, figuring out new stuff and you know, like I was having this conversation with you yesterday when we went to dinner about how when I was young, like, you know, I came into this business that, you know, needed modernizing, and I was one of 3 guys that were hired to come in and bring the company up to date, you know, as far as like tech goes, right? No computerized process. And I was all excited. You know, I was really proud of the work I was doing. But if you ask me today if I could repeat the process, like, you know, the drive that I had back then to learning something so new and implementing it, I don't know that I would have it in me anymore. I'm tired, you know. I'm already 44 years old.
Mm-hmm. You've done it probably, and you've said, I've done that already, and I'll put it on someone else now. Right. That's what I would do. But
hang up the jersey as
or just overlook it instead of trying to do everything.
Oversee it, right?
Oversee it,
yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing that we talked about this in the last episode about, you know, surrounding yourself with people that are better at these functions mm-hmm. than you are. And even if it's, like I said, in a case like this where, you know, it's needed, but I'm not trying to do it myself anymore. Like, it's not. So.
But if push comes to shove, you're going to do it.
Oh, 100%.
100%. Like,
yeah, that's who we are, right? Yeah. Like, you'll roll up your sleeves and get shit done. Yeah. But if you were able to, you know, have somebody else take that on, and you can focus on, like, my goal for next year is to have a heavy focus on, you know, just marketing and growth, right? Like, I feel like finally, I hope that we're out of this, you know, rut that we've been in for the last, since COVID. And so if sales, you know, are to recover, I need to focus more on marketing and, you know, running some campaigns. Just the point is that my overall focus for next year is going to be that, it's growth. And so it's going to be on Sean and, you know, Luis to take over.
After a while, though, you don't have to do marketing because people come back to you. Like,
no,
and that's the beauty that with my dad laid out and set up was 25 years of just nonstop, you know, not networking, but getting to know people.
The word of mouth.
Word of mouth, man. Yeah. That's all. We never advertised ever. Yeah. We still, I mean, I did the website because I wanted to, you know, have something legit so people, if they really wanted to look to us, but yeah. We get
also because it's different now. It's information, society of information where people don't want to call anymore. They want something quick. Yeah. Check on the internet and go to someone's website and look for information.
But like I was explaining to Jose, in our business, it's all about networking and knowing certain managers because it's a small community, and I'm pretty sure the firearms is the same way. Like, you know, you know who else owns, you know, who's your competitors around your area, or, you know, at the shop in Azusa, you've heard of them as well. So it's kind of, you know, like a small community where you kind of know everyone and or heard of them, or they move from one company to another and then they take you with them, or, you know, you show up to a shopping center that, you know, they sold and now it's a new owner, new manager, and they kind of want to run their show, but eventually they'll come back because you know, they're not happy or whatever it is. So
yeah, they think paying for less is gonna get you the same outcome.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sometimes they don't meet the requirements. You know, insurance-wise, you know, bonds, anything that, you know, that these big companies require a lot of insurances to do work at certain properties. So, and that's kind of the stuff that I didn't know about and kind of fell into it. But prior to that, being on the property manager side, it kind of helped me realize it, and that helped me out a lot.
So let's take a moment and back up a little bit because we just kind of jumped in and
putazos.
Yeah, and so today we have with us Jonathan Gonzalez. He is with BG Maintenance, company that was started, like you said, your pops, maybe 45 years ago at this point. Long time ago.
Long time.
And it's grown, it's morphed, it's kind of changed direction a couple times from my understanding. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about that? So originally you said your pops was doing some janitorial services as just a side gig.
Yep.
And then the first years of the business, the focus was janitorial services, right?
Janitorial was his bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
Janitorial, big buildings. And because of his connections that he knew, those same managers pulled him to different buildings. And that's what it was. Late nights, 5 to 2 in the morning, cleaning of buildings, office buildings, different parts.
Perfect for us as a side gig, huh? Kind of, because you could have your 9 to 5, and then in the evenings you go do the service.
But after a while, like I said, it just got too much for him that he had to pick. He even told me, he's like, man, I took vacation, but it wasn't really vacation. It was just time to focus on setting up what I was going to continue doing.
On the business.
On the business side for myself, then it was vacation because we never went anywhere.
Yeah. And I think most of us, a lot of us, not most of us, but a lot of us end up finding ourselves in that position, right? I found myself in that position some years back, right before the recession. I think it was like in 2006. I had started an online hobby store, and the business was growing. It was demanding more and more of my time. I still had my career going, 9 to 5, and it first started off. The good thing was that I had a lot of flexibility, some flexibility with the company I was with. Right, I was head of a couple of departments, and so I was able to cut down my office hours to Monday through Thursday, and then focus Friday, Saturday, Sunday on my home-based business that I was trying to grow. And fast forward a year later, it's getting to the point where that's not enough, right? So at first it was just weekends. Then it was like, okay, I had to cut my office hours down, work there 4 days, and the other 3 days. So it was a 7-day grind, just 4 days for somebody else, 3 days for me. And eventually it got to the point where that wasn't enough anymore. And at the time, our daughter had just been born. My wife has always helped me in every venture that I've gone into since we've been married. And it was too much for her. She couldn't handle the volume of, orders that had to be processed and, everything that goes with it. And so she said, I can't do this. It's going to something has to change. And we had just got a new dog, right? New golden retriever. So big guy, goofy as hell. And I remember the turning point was one day she called me, stressed out, really just one of those days that it was too much for her. The dog had an accident inside the garage and made a mess. And so she's having to deal with that. She's got, our newborn daughter, and she's got all these orders to process. She's like, I can't do it. And, she's always been, my partner in crime, and she's always been extremely supportive and with me, till the wheels fall off. But at that point, everything that was going on, she's all like, okay, this is my limit. I was like, holy shit, point. We found our limit. I was like, finally, no, not that I was looking for it, but it's just, I guess I was just so accustomed to her just getting shit done, because that's who she's always been with me. And so it came down to having to make that decision. And it was a really hard decision because I was like, okay, on one hand, I love what I do in my career. So I don't want to leave it yet. I was still growing. I was still learning. There was still more to do. And at the same time, I was still holding on to a little bit of that fear, right? Like I didn't feel that I was ready to go 100% into the hobby business, right? And I was like having a hard time deciding that. And, at the end of the day, everything that was going through my head, young family, all these responsibilities, and I was like, okay, I have to make this choice. And I decided to liquidate the inventory and, go back to focusing on my career. I still had some years in me in the career. And so that's what I decided to do. And, we know what happened in 2008, right? So this is like late 2007, something like that, when I made that decision. And then 2008 happens, and the hobby business is a luxury. Nobody needs a $600 remote control truck. Nobody needs a, $500 remote control boat or whatever. So that whole industry just dropped out. It died out. Like, we used to have, 3 hobby stores near, the Downey, Lakewood, more than 3. The point is that it went from tons of hobby stores everywhere to none. A lot of them closed doors. And so, it was a blessing in disguise, I guess you could say, because had I decided to go into it 100% now, of course, there's no way for me to have predicted that, to have known that. But sometimes, things happen for a reason. And, in this case, my gut feeling of, stick to the career, it actually panned out. And so, I'm very familiar with what your pops went through, as far as like having to cut down or dedicate more time. The vacation thing, I totally resonates with me. That's not vacation. This is time off from the regular job, so I can focus more on the business. And so, but those are the things. Those are the kind of things that we deal with, that we have to, make these hard decisions. Did you guys go through anything like that?
Not so much with the recession, but probably further back when my dad owned a flower shop. It was a flower shop and a bridal shop next to us, which was with my aunts. And that decision to shut that down came because of some personal issues with my dad and my aunt, where it's probably just better to shut this down and go our separate ways. So, but nothing as far as financially. It was just more of a personal thing. But yeah, it was because the flower shop was great. I enjoyed it. I used to walk from Nimitz to Huntington Park, where the flower shop was on State Street and Gage, and help my mom set up flowers for the arrangements that she was going to do, get the fridge prepped for the fresh flowers that were coming in from LA. But unfortunately, we just had to shut it down, and it was named after my sister.
Yeah, it's crazy, the different paths that we don't expect, right? Like completely unexpected, and we just gotta make the best decisions at the time. When they present themselves. We were talking about that earlier, about how a lot of entrepreneurship, is going to require decision making, like sound decision making, right? Because opportunities are going to come up, or there's going to be just things that are going to be important enough and big enough to pivot the business one way or the other, and you have to make the right call. I remember you shared with me some years back that when you first joined the company, your family's company, like coming back to it, right? When you came back after having been gone for a minute, you had to have that conversation with your pops, where it was like something like to the effect of, we have to add these services, or this opportunity to add these other services. You want to talk on that?
Yeah, I mean, first we had to settle, me and him, because, it was two egos against each other. And, I had to ask him, hey, if I'm going to come back, you have to let me make decisions for the company and let me talk to the employees and to the managers and, kind of run it. So you can take a back seat. If you're going to want to take a back seat, you can always be involved however want. Until this day, he's still involved. Somehow he hasn't given up everything. So he's still, he does stuff.
It's his baby, man.
I mean, he signs the checks, you name it. He wants to do it. And I'm like, that's fine. Keep him active. Keep him moving.
How old is he at this point?
67.
67.
The same age as my dad.
Yeah. 1954. Right?
Yeah, and my dad doesn't want to give up either.
But me and him had issues, and that's why I left, because of course I was young, and I was just fed up with having to work for him every day, and doing a bunch of stuff, getting paid, but still not enough in my eyes, right? But not knowing that there was a great big plan up ahead.
Of course.
When you're young, you don't realize things like that. So. Kind of had to blow out and said, I'm never going to work for you ever again, and walked away.
I remember those days, yeah.
Went to work somewhere else for a little bit. And then, I get a phone call from, one of the managers I kind of knew and was his buddy, and offered me, something I couldn't refuse. So I said, yeah, I'll take it, But now looking back at it, he kind of set it up for me to go over there and work. Better job, better pay, got to travel. I was single, so I didn't really care where I was at, and they set me up, it was awesome, because I got to.
But as an employee
for a big corporate company.
Oh, wow.
All right. A big management company, never done that work ever. So, I was kind of in the office. I started from the bottom, leasing agent, showing apartments / assistant manager, small property in Palm Springs. Got to dress up every day and, change of scenario instead of, boots and Dickies and a dress shirt, or not dress shirt but work shirt, with our company logo on it. So I wasn't scrubbing bathrooms anymore. I wasn't mopping. I wasn't vacuuming offices, taking trash cans, trash out, that kind of stuff. So it was different. I liked it, and I rolled with it for about 6 years, man. Yeah, and after that, we kind of started our own construction stuff with the same apartments until '08 came around, and
Everything.
everything went down and jumped ship. And by then, we already had talked, and we would go on vacation or do stuff with them, and I kind of would throw stuff at them, and he was kind of doing it, and he kind of changed from office building to parking lot sweeping. Just out of nowhere, someone told him, "Hey, can you sweep this parking lot?" He's like, "Yeah, I can do it." Of course, he wasn't ever gonna, say no to it.
He wasn't ready for it, but he said, "Sure, we'll do it."
We'll do it. And he started doing, he had a couple of them, and then he started slowly but surely just losing the contracts with the big office buildings and getting more shopping centers, more and more shopping centers, and that's what I kind of, was visualizing and seeing what he was doing, and I kind of was like, it's pretty cool, at nights, early mornings, sweeping and cleaning of shopping centers, and no one bothers you, man, which is cool. Commercial. And then after a while, he would kind of tell me to do stuff for him, Hey, can you do this for me? Yeah, I'll do it for you, I've kind of learned a lot more being in the apartment community industry, how to do stuff more hands-on. It wasn't my job, but I was always, I'm always looking at people, how they work, why are they doing this, or why do you do it this way, and not this way, or just learning, just visually being a visual learner and being out there, and
and then all those things like that is what ultimately we build into our businesses. What we the fact that you were paying attention to how they were doing their stuff, I'm sure you now use it in the business
big time. I mean, sometimes it takes once or twice to learn, or you kind of mess up, and then you ask somebody. Like I told you, I said, I'm the guy that you call and ask me, "Hey, how do you do this?" I'll tell you, because I learned it the hard way. No one taught me, like change the light bulb. How do you do it? Like, well, you got to turn it and bring it down, make sure that they don't hit, because but now I'll get up there quick and do it fast and show someone how to do it. But that's kind of the things that he was scared of doing and didn't want to do it because he didn't know how to do it. So he kind of stayed away from it, which was smart in a way. And when I came back with him, I asked him to pick up all those small jobs and little things, because they were asking him, he would call me, "Hey, do you know how to do this?" "Yeah, I know how to do that." "Oh, you want to do it for?" "Yeah, tell him, I'll go over there, we'll do it." And I'll tell him, charge him this much. Okay. But I wasn't 100% on board yet with him. Okay. Then I started taking it, once '08 hit and everything hit the fan, it got ugly and hard, and I told him, I need a job. Right. I need a job. I need to, but I want to work it out with you where I'll do a lot more, and, I'm going to help you, and I want to dedicate time and take it to the next level and do more stuff, more maintenance stuff. And that's when he changed. He got incorporated, and he went from Ben's Janitorial to BG Maintenance. And he changed it completely, 100% corporate. Now that we have books and, everyone's got a title, we all get paid,
Do you feel that's a move that all businesses have to do, or is it like past a certain size, past what?
Man, for even a small business, if you have more than 2-3 employees, you got to be a corporation. You got to protect yourself for anything, but just know how it works, and talk to your CPA or your accountant. You got to have an accountant. You got to have someone that runs your books, and if it's the best way of doing it, then in the long run, it's going to help you, right? You have a corporation, you got a legit company. It looks different than a sole proprietor, in my opinion. As a certain, like a company, you have an actual company, and then a sole proprietor that instead of working your social, you're working your company's tax ID number or whatever it is, and for the IRS, it goes a long way, especially because you can do more deductions.
When we look at this, this span of, I don't know, 08 was what, at this point, 18 years, whatever it was, right? How many years ago was that? 15? I don't know how many.
It's going on 15.
It's going on 15
next year.
That's when we went from auto parts to guns literally at the end of 08, and our doors open in 09, so we're about 14 going on 15.
I got married in 08.
Oh, did you?
I had a kid in 08. So, I mean, it changed on me like
Everything
this,
changed.
man. Everything.
So since that point, because that's really when your time with the company really went 100% full time.
Yeah.
Like all in, right? If you could go back in time, like, would you do anything differently? Do you feel that there were any mistakes made along the way, or anything you could have done?
Not mistakes, because things were kind of running themselves. Like, you know, he already had set it up the company where, you know, they were calling us, I would just upgrade it a little bit more, I think, like, you know, to run it a little bit more easily, kind of.
Like efficiently?
You know, computer wise, you know, maybe I still to this day I want to do its own software where we come up with our own work orders, and you know, we can go off of that instead of just having, you know, emails, paperwork, you know. That's how I keep track of things, kind of. And you know, a lot of the management companies have done it on their own now, where they'll request a work order and then they'll email it to us, and then we go in on their website and, you know, click on it and schedule it and mark it done, upload pictures. But just things like that. Like, I already had a vision of it beforehand back then to what it is now.
So in okay, let me. I guess I should have asked this in the very beginning. What do you classify the company as? What's the shortest way to describe the company?
Just a maintenance service company.
Maintenance service company.
Yeah.
But
like, if you need a light bulb change in this office, you'll call us.
Strictly for commercial buildings, commercial properties.
That's our main thing, is commercial.
Who else needs companies? Like, you know, residential doesn't need it.
No, I mean, you can call us, you know, kind of do a handyman service. If honey to-do list, I get those all the time, you know.
Yeah, I saw on the website you had something like a handyman. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I did see the word handyman on your website somewhere.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you need things sometimes done. I need things done at my house, and you know, I'll make a list and I'll give it to one of my guys. Hey, go take care of it. You know, like.
Do you guys have to have a contractor's license or something like that?
No, because it's all small stuff.
Okay.
You know, anything over $500 needs to, you know, by code have to have a contractor's license. But I mean, you know, there's ways around it. But
and you guys have built a business this big without, because it's really not needed. It's unnecessary to have it?
Because it's mostly cleaning of the shopping centers. That's all it is, cleaning. You don't have I don't think there is a contractor license to do cleaning, you know. Even power washing, I don't think there's a classification for that. But that's the kind of service that we do: power washing, cleaning, you know. The other stuff is just small pickup work, what we call it, pickup work, maintenance work. You know, a wheel stop was broken because someone with a big truck rolled over it and cracked it. And
so I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, okay, so what kind of volume are we talking about? Like, do you guys run, you know, 10 service calls a day on average, 20? Like, what are we looking at?
It varies. It varies big time. Like today, I would, between me and you, after lunchtime, I had like 3 calls come in. I took care of one. The other one got rescheduled for Thursday. The other one, you know, kind of got pushed away. But other than that, I mean, it all depends, you know. Right now, during this time, it kind of slows down. But at the beginning of the year, when they all have budgets. So they have X amount of money to spend throughout the whole year. And this is I learned because I was part of the management company. So they have X amount of money to spend in a year. Okay. So they need to do things around the property to freshen it up. You know, they need to paint the handicap signs. They need to paint the red curbs. That's when we come in and we do all that stuff. And because we're already here cleaning it, we do the cleaning of the shopping center. We'll do the maintenance on it to keep it up because they want to keep it in-house. One person, they don't want to call 5 people to do, you know, the jobs.
So that's cool. So it gives you an advantage because your company offers all these services.
Yes.
So instead of them calling different companies, it just go Jonathan and it's gets taken care of.
Yeah, BG Maintenance takes care of it all for you, man. One-stop shop.
Yeah,
you know,
I like that.
I do a little bit of everything. So, but at this point, we've had great relationships with all our companies and all the management companies that we work with, owners that a lot of times you don't really talk to, like as a company, like servicing. I know 5-6 owners of places that, because they literally want to meet me and know who I am and what we do and, how long we've been there and all that stuff. So, and I do a lot of job walks still with the actual owners of the property, which is weird, kind of, because that's something that the managers usually just take care of. But it's a cool thing,
Yeah.
But out of everything, the best thing that I can take away is that my pops was able to take time off and travel and do stuff that he never did because he never had someone, like a right hand. He had a bunch of workers that have worked with us for a long time, man. We have a lot of guys that worked with us for a long time, hardworking guys that worked for us until now. Still, we still have a couple of guys that.
But you had to become like his mini-me.
Exactly.
Yeah, in order for him to now start.
Yeah, I don't think he would trust anyone else.
Yeah.
And even then, he would still call me, "Hey, how's everything?" Like, "Hey, everything's fine. Like, don't worry about it."
Enjoy your vacation.
Yeah.
Did you kind of have to like convince him to start taking time off?
No, he was ready.
Okay.
He was ready. He was looking for but he never said anything. He would never say anything. My mom would kind of mention to me, your dad is ready. He wants to go on vacation. He wants to do this, but he's always got this and this. So I was already getting, not the runaround, but indirect comments from the messenger. Yeah, but never directly from him. But
since you're one of those business owners that grew up around the business, right? Because like you mentioned, you're pretty much your whole life.
I lost 2 years of high school football because I was working, bro.
Yeah.
Summers, I lost 2 years, man. My 9th grade year and my 11th grade year. Didn't play high school football because I was working with my pops. I got a car out of it though, but that's it, man.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, how was it on you as a teenager?
It showed me responsibility, that's for sure, because I had to be responsible. I had a job to do, and I had to take care of it. I would skip working Friday nights because I would either go out and do stuff, but come Sunday or Saturday night, I had to go to work and make sure that those offices were clean before Monday morning. So, I mean, a couple of times I kind of shot myself in the foot and went hard on the weekend. And, Sunday night, I was over there, running, grabbing my sister to help me and, help me clean these offices before. And because I had to come home and fall asleep, go to bed and wake up the next day to go to school, But it was just, it taught me a lot to be responsible. And, there was a lot of times where I would come home straight from hanging out and doing crazy stuff, home on, Saturday morning to change and go to work with my pops. He was already waiting for me at 5, 6 in the morning, and I was just still coming home, barely showing up to the house and parking the car and changing and going straight to work, man.
Would you put that amount of the same pressure on your kids?
No, not
even
that much.
though you're it sounds like you're grateful for what your pops did.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just like, throw straight into the into the lion's den or whatever it is. But I wouldn't put it on my kids that hard. I'd rather let them enjoy their teenage. Even now, man, shit, my son does more than I've ever did. And I want to push him to keep playing baseball. Work out, go to practice, do this. Like, you don't have to worry about anything else. Like, he's 14, man.
So he's 14, but do you have him work with you?
There's sometimes I take him with me, But if he doesn't, I'll tell him, just do this around the house and just, help your mom out or whatever. I haven't gotten to the point where I said, get up, you're coming with me,
Do you think you will?
Yeah, because he's done it a couple of times with me. I tell him, come on, I need to go change a water heater. We're gonna go do something. You're gonna help me? I'll give you some money. Or I tell him, hey, you got to get a haircut, right? You need $40. So you got to do something. Come on. wash my truck or help me clean.
Does he fight it at all?
No. He's money hungry too, a little bit to a certain extent already. But I don't want to feed the beast, man, because that's what it was with me. I saw the money and, I wanted to keep doing it. And I would wash people's cars, clean their interior. I would do crazy stuff during the weekends just to make money because I knew it was a hustle,
Yeah.
So I was already working with my dad, come back, my neighbors or friends needed to get their car washed. My dad had all the carpet cleaning machines or whatever it was, and I would do it, charge them $20-$30, clean their interior. That was just my side hustle.
So it's interesting. Your dad started the business of cleaning. You worked with him, and then you still had like a side hustle.
Yeah,
as a
man.
teenager.
Always. Yeah. Just because I was just into cars more than anything, man. I love cars. Till this day, I still love cars. Keep my truck clean, wash it on the weekends, get it clean. But, you always have other friends that, hey, man, how do you keep your car clean? I clean it, man. I do it. You ever need it, come to the house. I set up shop at my house. The hard driveway was my shop right there. We'd clean cars. They'd hang out, and I knew a lot of people with cars, so it worked out, It always worked out. I would, here and there I'll do people's houses, but not too much. I would clean carpets and do power washings.
You said that you're not asking or asking the same of your son, your kids, right? How about entrepreneurship as a whole? Do you want that for them? Do you not want it for them?
I've told him that if he doesn't want to go to college, he's going to go to trade tech school, like learn a trade, because I think that's the best, man. If I would do it, I would do it that way. Trade, learn like a HVAC, plumbing, electrician, get a license in that, or get it, because it goes a long way, especially air conditioning, dude. Air conditioning is a huge business. If I can do it, I would do that.
But you're saying learn the trade to open a business in that trade or to work for somebody else?
Well, you got to get experience first. So, learn the trade, go work for someone for a little bit, and then we'll open up a shop.
Okay, but you do want that for your son for him to own a business one day.
Always,
okay.
100%. There's nothing better than being your own boss. You're the owner. You're the CEO. A lot of people don't know what a CEO is.
What do you, when you say there's nothing like it? Okay, what comes to mind?
You can work for someone for 20 years, Jose, and if something goes wrong, they're gonna let you go.
Yeah.
They're gonna thank you for your service. They're gonna thank you for your time. They're gonna give you your severance package and your final paycheck, and that's it, man.
There's no loyalty, pues. Not really.
It's a business.
It's a business.
Yeah. And you learn it, and unfortunately, sometimes you gotta be. That was probably one of the hardest things too. Also, is to show up someone and fire somebody.
Yeah.
Like you have to call someone, meet them, introduce yourself, and say thank you, but I gotta let you go.
You had to do that?
Yeah. And I got set up where, someone wasn't doing their job right, and I had just showed up, and I'm going to be the bad guy to let them go.
Have you had to do that? When you say you've had to do that, was it with the management company, working
Both.
for them, or as
Both.
a business owner?
As a business owner, though. Yeah. Especially working with our company, it's been the hardest because they've been there for a while.
Yeah.
One example is this guy, I don't know, he got a bad habit of drinking and wasn't showing up anymore on the weekends, and it was just consistent. And he had been with us for like 10 years. So what do you tell that guy? Like, hey, you've been with us 10 years. What's going on? Are you drinking too much? Is everything okay? Like, I'm not a counselor, Yeah. But when we get put on the spot and, we're not doing our services and the manager knows that, we haven't shown up and I've been having to cover for him, that's it. There's a line and you crossed it, and that's it. Sorry, I can't have you on our team anymore.
And you know what? Now that you bring that up, that is hard, but at least there's a reason behind it, right? It's not
Always.
just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Whereas, in my case, I saw my pops get laid off from a company that he'd been with for 20-something years, 25 years or something like that. super dedicated, right? My pops was the type of guy that if his clock in time was at 8, he was there at 7:45 every day, rain or shine. I think my dad, in the 25 years he worked for that company, he maybe missed 3 days, right? And that's when my grandpa passed away. So he wouldn't miss unless it was something, real. And not that he never had any days where he didn't feel well, or he's not a robot, everybody, but he would push through. He would push through and be there. So the point is that he was very loyal, super hardworking. And the original owner, who originally brought him on, passed away, and the son took over. Son comes on board, and he has no loyalty, no real connection with the staff, and so he decides to start cutting out the people that have seniority, tenure, and making too much money in his eyes.
Yeah.
And my dad was on the chopping block, and so I remember the day that he came home and told the family, I've been laid off after all these years. And I saw, my dad's a very strong, very proud man, and I had never seen him like break down like that. Like it really impacted him, and I think that more than ever before, I decided and made it, my mission in life to never have to rely on somebody like that again, because of what I saw him go through, And so I think that in cases like that, it's even worse, right? Because he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't, he was the ideal employee, and yet because of cutbacks, or I don't know, whatever the difference was between the pops that originally owned it and the son taking over, he felt they needed to make this cut, and just like that, it happened. And so we talked in past episodes about the freedom that we have as entrepreneurs, and I think that's another one of those. You get to make your decision on how long you run this, or
you get more freedom, but also you're tied down a little bit more. But I mean, you kind of have to work your schedule out and find an equilibrium where you can take a 2-hour lunch, with the customer and hang, and then go back to work and do what you got to do, and then come back around and do this podcast. But
freedom, I guess. Freedom in the sense that you're running the show, right? You're making decisions on how you're going to run it, if you're going to work this weekend, if you're not, or what have you. And you don't get to make those decisions when you work for somebody else. A lot of times it's
8 to 5, and clock in, like you said, 15 minutes before 8 o'clock, and you're on the clock, man. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was probably a business aspect for them, and they think that by laying off their oldest employees and getting some new fresh meat in there, and they're going to be more productive, and they're going to pay less in salary, and if you look at the financial spreadsheet, that's probably what he went with.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it was having your pops having to get laid off.
Yeah.
But you think your dad would still be working there, man, if it wasn't for that?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
he's that guy. Yeah,
he's that person where they'll go until the wheels fall off, and they won't take a part-time instead of a full-time, because what he's gonna do at home, or things like that. So it got to a while where I saw my dad wanting to do stuff again, because he had taken too much time off, and he wanted to get back involved. And
I want to change the topic a little bit. Well, I'm a big supporter, or a big, proponent of having mentors, mentoring people. Do you guys do any of that? Did you have a mentor? I mean, I know your pops was running the show and all that, but
my pops, but also the manager that took me on at the property management, he was a big mentor for me, man. He showed me the ropes. He showed me the property management apartment side of everything, and he really wanted the best for me. Yeah, he really did. Man, he told me, keep going to school. That's the only way you're going to get this job. You got to sign up community college. I don't want you to keep going to school. And he gave me everything, man. He put me on board. He made me responsible for a couple of properties, and then he moved me around, and I kept moving up the ladder in the company. But it just got too political for me. after a while. So
That's how it is in a lot of places where it's a big company like that. You got all the people with CEOs and todo el movimiento on that at that level.
yeah, it got too political because I was up north, up in Davis, and they had 5 properties up there, and we were, doing renovations to them, and the property management that was overseeing everything over there kind of, wanted their own people, So it got just too political for me, too many side jabs, or he didn't do this and he didn't do that, things like that. And at the end of the day, everything's, they didn't know who I was, kind of. So they're kind of like, oh, he's the
new guy. You're
the new guy.
Yeah.
I'm the new guy. But ideally,
The expendable guy.
yeah, ideally, I knew the owners, so I was with the ownership. I was with the main guys, the responsible ones, and I was, his sidearm. He would call me for everything, man. I was always the one to let him know things, what was going on, what wasn't going on, things like that. So I was an inside man in that company, but I just got fed up with it, man. I just don't like politics ever. Even now, if it gets too political at a company and they, what, we can just break ties and thank you very much, and let me know if you guys need anything else, because I'm not here pointing fingers at nobody, or questioning anybody.
Yeah.
I said, as long as we're doing our job, that's all that matters. So when we get put on blast, or hey, we're getting letters from the city, I'm like, really? Like, okay, I'll go by and take a look at it right now. Take pictures. There's nothing that the city should be complaining about, because that looks bad on us. We get called on. That's the only time things go wrong, like when the manager calls us because something's wrong at the property. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'll go over there and we'll solution it and get it right. But a lot of times people don't know how to communicate with one another. There's ways of asking people to do something, instead of telling them what to do. Like if I tell you, hey, give me a 1911 gun. What do you mean? Like, I'm like, no. Hey, can you show me something? Can you show me a 1911 gun instead of, I'm interested in looking at one. I mean, there's way to talk to people, and sometimes people don't know how to talk, or they think that they're too above you, or, to do business with you.
So you've had those kind of instances in the past where, like, when you try to go get a new customer or a client for your business, where they think like, you guys aren't good enough for
or we're too small of a company for them. Like, okay, like, thank you. Like, we do a lot of work for a lot of other property management companies, like, so we're not, we're wrapped, and we're a small company, but we work with big companies that know what we do,
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they want our job, if they want our service, they'll get our service. If they don't, want it, then, or they're just looking to get a price quote from us, then, they're shopping around, which is fine too.
Your business is very old school, huh? Like old fashioned.
Old still, man.
Yeah.
It's old fashioned. I mean, we do
relationship based,
big time. Just from, there's customers from when my dad started it, still with, with certain companies, or, started small management company and got bigger and bigger, and now they have quite a few. There's some new customers that came on board that, manage big centers, a lot of centers. We have one property manager up north that manages a bunch, like 100 places around here in Southern California for 7-Eleven. So, but we don't do big, huge places. We do a lot of small mom and pop shopping centers. So those are harder to get a big company to do, because you can't get someone in a truck that does a big shopping center, a Target, or, a Stater Brothers or anything like that, to do a small one, because it's not worth their time.
Right.
That's when we come into play, and that's what we do. We do a lot of small ones, and, maintain them. And
what would you attribute the longevity, the fact that you've been able to run this business for 40, 50 years, whatever it is?
People, man. People.
The relationships.
Yeah. Not not only the relationship, but we're always going to have a job because of people.
Explain.
People that go shopping every day, whether you see it or you realize it or not, you get out of your car, you drop trash.
No. I'm not asking about the need for the service.
Oh, the need of the service? Oh, the longevity of it?
No, right. Like, why? How is it that
customer
you guys
service?
have,
Customer
okay.
service. Plain and simple. Because 5 out of 8 times someone calls me, I pick up my phone and they tell me, man, it's hard to get someone to pick up their phone nowadays. They don't answer it because big companies are big companies, and the sales rep has 100 accounts, or and you get a voicemail, or you got to send them an email. And with me, it's personal. You call me, I'm going to answer. You're going to talk to an actual person and not a machine,
So you guys handle, when I say you guys as in the family, the owners, handle the customer calls directly?
I deal with every single manager.
Really?
Every single manager that comes, and owners, either way. Like I deal with that on a day-to-day basis. And I'm out and about in the field, dude. Every day I'm out there. So not only if a manager calls me that in their office in Beverly Hills and needs something in Huntington Beach, I'm the guy. I'm here. Boom. I'm shooting over there. Now, if I'm not in the area, I'm not in the area. Sorry, but I'll be there tomorrow, or I'll have my guy send me a picture or something, So we're the eyes on the property all the time. That's what they always tell us. We're the eyes on the property. We need to let them know what's going on, and just talking to people. And if you have someone that you rely on and you can call and ask them something, and they're gonna do it for you, and they're gonna do it in a fast manner, you're gonna call them all the time, And that's what we do.
Yeah, because I think that's kind of the detail I was looking for, because anybody can start a business, right? But not everybody can grow and build this business to last 50 years, or is it 50 years since the 80s, right?
Nah, I want to say like 87, 88,
okay,
around there. So
whatever, like 35
years,
something like
36.
that.
Officially though, he was always doing side jobs and stuff, but officially probably since then, man.
That's a good run though, and that's why I ask, like, what do you attribute it to? Because it's customer service is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
it's good, old school, old fashioned customer service.
And I still have managers tell me, like, man, how's your dad doing? Like, and just because he didn't speak good English, but he was always there, and don't worry about it, we'll fix it, like, in his way, and he would make things right for them. And you need hands-on sometimes, like someone that's gonna move. You tell them, hey, here's the issue, find the problem, fix it, and resolve it, and done. Next.
Was your dad did he get into business out of necessity, would you say, or because he loves the hustle, the grind, and all that?
Necessity, day one. I mean, he came out here with nothing.
Yeah.
When he crossed the border, and came out here to work, he came out here to work. He came out here out of necessity to work because things weren't good for him back home. He always tells us that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always tells us that. Like he started hustling.
Where's back home?
They lived in TJ.
Okay.
But he's from Cuernavaca. He was born in Cuernavaca and moved to Tijuana. But yeah, he comes from a big family too. Like 10.
A lot of mouths.
Back then.
Yeah.
A lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah.
So he was the only one to come out this way? Of his siblings?
He had a sister out here already too.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a sister living out here, and he kind of came out and worked in that area where she lived, and kind of, But from there, he just started moving and getting a job, getting another job, and then trying to do stuff on his own. I mean, shit. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, man, in Echo Park, all 4 of us. And we always had someone living with us, like an uncle or someone that was helping them, and working with us and stuff. So
it seems we all have something in common, even with Naum, with his story, is that our parents came from Mexico to make a better life for themselves and for us.
Yeah, the American dream, man.
Yeah, they sacrificed a lot for themselves, for us,
Well, they kind of paved the way for us, right?
Yeah.
Is what I like to say, because they sacrificed a lot, but they opened it up, So I mean, nothing was given to them, but nothing was back home for them neither. So there's only one way, and that was keep going forward, and that's how I see it now. There's no, it's always constantly, you got to move forward constantly. Something didn't work out, move forward, let's go, on to the next. Sometimes business deals don't work out. Sometimes new accounts don't work out. That's fine. You got to understand it's business, and not get mad at yourself, and not be angry, or it's no one's fault. It's the way it worked, and let's move on. And I think you'll do a lot more better business that way than, if you think about it, oh man, I wish I would have sold that. Like, if I would have done that deal better, maybe. And you can't, hold grudges against yourself. There's too much work out there to really, you don't have to pick and choose neither, and be picky, but, if one gets away, 2 more or 3 more on their way. So
that's a good attitude to have with that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess I want to ask a couple more questions and then, wrap up this conversation. So I always like asking about when you look at this, this run that you've had since you've been on full time. I'm assuming that you have some sense of pride, right, in what you're doing, what you've done in these 10 years, 15 years. What are you most proud of, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask.
Of keeping the name going, dude. That's the biggest
The
pride.
legacy?
The legacy, the name, the company that he worked so hard.
Those relationships.
Those relationships, doing the work that, we're known for doing,
That it didn't all end just because, he needed to take a break.
I don't want to make the company go, bankrupt or on, shit. We've had some hard times, and I've taken pay cuts because we have to, or, hold my check and, we'll pay ourselves when we get it, or whatever it is, or try to do things better, to make more money. But we've all lived off of it, including, my parents, my sister, me. Yeah. To this day, we all get paid, so we gotta keep the boat rolling, keep the bus moving.
But that is the thing that you're most proud of, the fact that when it's all said and done, you can say that you helped keep your pops, what he started going, and continue to grow it and all that.
It's a big company, money wise.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of accounts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small family-owned company, and that's what I tell everyone. We're a small family-owned company, but we do a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, and now you said that you absolutely definitely want your kids to go into business. Do you see them going into this family business or something else?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I really haven't asked them or pushed them for it. I want them to live their kid, dreams and do what they want to do right now and have fun and stuff. And maybe when they're in high, a little bit older, like Noah, probably when he's 15, 16. So like in another year or two, I'll start pushing him a little bit more, just because you got to mold him.
Right.
Mold them when they're, young still, but not too young, because, they're kids, man. They still want to play. Like my 5-year-old daughter is just, she's going to play with her playhouse and dolls and stuff. And my other son, Quinn, he's going to, he's into video games right now. So, he's living his life. He's 8 years old. Like, why are you going to take that from him? And
let them be kids.
Yeah, let them be kids.
And I agree with that, right? I agree with that. But I guess the reason why I ask is because if you personally have taken great pride in the fact that you can say, I've kept the family business going. I've ensured that it's gone on to generation 2, right?
I'm going to be working for another 50 years, Jose, man. I'm 38, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to do like Pops, man, until my dad, man, work until the wheels fall off.
But how beautiful would it be if Noah or any of your kids, or your sister's kids, right, decided to do what you've done and your sister have done and, continue the business, right? Now then you go into third generation, right? Like, I think that as the person that's starting it, like, that would be a beautiful thing.
Like I told Sean, man, I said, everything's set up for you.
Yeah.
Like, take this, what your dad's done, 562 Paramount, publishings, take this and run with it. I mean, if they want to take over what we've started for them, what my dad did, and what I've kind of kept moving forward, perfect. If they want to go take it in another route, then it's going to go a different way for them as well. But it's there for them if they want it, because it's a family-owned business. So why not pass it over to the third generation of people and of kids, or if they really want to run it with it.
How do you feel about that?
In my case, I think it'd be great if one of the boys decided to continue, but at the same time, I've been pushing them to forge their own path, find what they want to do, and make a career out of it.
Yep.
To get away from the 9 to 5, like you were saying earlier, working for someone else. Yeah, I think I'm leaning more towards them finding their own thing that they want to do.
It's hard to tell them what to do because they're their own person. Like, if I tell you, Jose, you're going to be this, you're going to be like, no, I'm not. I'm going to be what I want to do. Like, I want to do this. I want to do something else. Like, So at the end of the day, I want them to do what they want to do. Kind of give them that little leash, but then, pull them back a little bit and tell them, hey, the opportunity's here for you if you really want it. But if you'd like to move on, do something else, try it out, test it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
Have you ever had that conversation with your parents? Like, what were their dreams for you and your sister? And
they always wanted us to go to school, man. We got free rides. My dad pushed us all to go to college.
Yeah.
We all had the opportunity to go to college if we really wanted to and stick to it and do what we wanted to do. It worked out for my oldest sister. She graduated from UCR. My other sister Joanna went to Northridge for a while, and she never finished her career, but she's doing well off for herself, doing what she does. Myself, I did community college for a while. I kind of just took classes here and there, and then kind of got focused back to work. And
right.
And then my other sister Maria, she went to Cal State Northridge too, and kind of finished her career, but she's back working with us. So, but like I told my kids, I said, as long as you guys do better than us, then there's nothing more you can ask for. Mm-hmm. Get educated, know what you're doing, like what you're doing, and keep doing. I like what I do, man. Yeah. Every day I like what I do. I'm shopping with my wife or the kids, and I notice things like a shopping center is like, man, I'm not working right now. Like, I shouldn't be looking at that kind of stuff. Like, I see a sticker up on the thing and I want to take it down just because it's just Mm-hmm. Or I go to people's houses and I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, man,
it's like, damn, yeah. Why's your house so jacked up?
Nah, not that, man.
Hit me up. Here's my number. Give me a call.
Yeah, just like, hey, man, who did this for you? Like, oh, okay, cool. I've done so much work now, and I'm still young, but I grew up fast, and I got to see a lot of stuff, man, and learn a lot of things, and I would continue to learn every day, man, because every day is a learning process. And it's just doing what you like to do. You can't force anyone, man. If they force me to be in that seat where you're at behind your desk, Jose, I would die, dude. I can't be behind the desk anymore, ever. I feel like I'm freaking like in jail or, getting held down by shackles or something. Like, I got to be out and about. Like, I'm only in a room for an hour or two and I got to go, dude. Like, let's go outside. Let's go, I'm out. Like, people tell me that all the time, like, man, you were here at the job site quick, and next thing you know, you're saying bye and you're out. Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go to the next job. Like, I gotta go something else. I'm busy, like I want to keep things rolling, but I just got ADD, man. I'm like anxious, and I gotta keep moving. And I did the time with the property management, and I was behind the desk for a while, but I would always go outside, walk around, like look at the properties, and if you needed something, I would be the one to run and go do it for you, like, oh, go take this notice to this, tenant. Okay, I'm gonna go over there and fucking post it and just be out of the office for a little bit, just because I needed fresh air or something. But,
you got restless legs.
Yeah,
you gotta be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I try to mix it up, right? Like I do believe in that too, and diversifying the, like, you look around in here and you see there's a photo set up over there. We do product photography.
Yeah.
You know, when we do product photography, you know, we used to do, we're not doing it right now, but we used to do, you know, lifestyle photography. So go out to downtown LA, scout some places and do stuff like that. I'm now at a point where I want to slow down. I don't want to be running around going from location, you know, to location scouting for photo shoots and stuff like that. I'm not trying to do that anymore. But you know, this is an entrepreneurship show, right? So I go back to praising the things that I love about it. And I love the fact that I can make that call. Yeah. I'm not doing lifestyle photo shoots no more. Client asks for it, you know, we don't do it anymore. Not at this time.
You can't do my glamour shops anymore?
Can't do it no more. If one day, you know, let's say my daughter, fast forward and my daughter's done with high school, and if she, you know, comes and starts, you know, working in the family business and she decides she wants to do it, then hey, okay, we have the service back available. But me, I'm done with that. And so
but you'll show her every, you know, step
for
of the
sure.
move. Like,
yeah, for sure.
But you can't put the way I see is don't pressure them that they have to do something, because then they won't want to do it.
It's more about exposing them to it, right? Expose them to it.
Expose them to it. Let them know it's there. But they're kids, man. That's how I was. Like, because I was forced to do things, I hated it. I hated it. Like,
but at what age do you think it is proper, right? Because, okay, so with my daughter, you know, she's 4 years younger than Sean. So with her, I'm at the phase right now where I expose her to stuff, right? Like, okay, look. So she's come up here and helped out with product shoots where she just helps facilitate the shoot. I'm not putting any pressure on her. She's not responsible for the photo shoot. She's just kind of behind the scenes, seeing how it works, you know, maybe handing a thing here, or, you know, what do you think about this, you know, composition, mama? She'll look at it like, oh yeah, I think it looks good, or, you know, maybe this or whatever. So it's very minimal, right? Like, it's almost zero pressure, I would say, other than the fact that she has to be here, right? Physically, she has to be here.
Yeah, but you're not waking her up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday and having her, dragging her over here and saying, like, you got to do this, you know.
No. So I'm not doing that. But fast forward, and, you know, Sean, right, once he was 17, going on to finish high school, it got turned up. Like, I turned up the volume. Like, I'm like, okay, now we're going to start really getting you involved.
Yeah. That's a good age, because that's when they start asking for things.
Yeah.
And the moment you start asking for things, well, there's a way of doing it, because you got to earn money in order to have it. You know, like, you want X, you got to do YZ, you know? So if 17 is kind of a good age.
Yeah.
16, 17, kind of, because they're going to start wanting to buy those $200 shoes, or going out to the mall, going shopping, going on a date, or whatever it is, like taking someone out to the movies. That all requires money.
Yeah. I think it was his senior year in high school. So 17 years old is when, you know, I knew the day was coming where he was going to get his first car. And so, you know, I was going to buy him his first car. But I think at that time is when I started expecting him to, you know, come to the office after high school every day, Monday through Friday. Not that he didn't have to be here till, it's just check in. Do we need your help today with X, with this or with that? If not, cool. We'll see you at the house later when we close up. If we do need your help, they're going to help for the next 30, 40 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, or maybe the day until we finish.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like you say, where it was like, okay, what's that word? Esclavizado.
Aprovechado.
Esclavizado. Not like that either. Yeah. But I do feel that it's beneficial for them, for us to be demanding like that. Like, you know, we had on Naum, one of our clients that has a restaurant, and, you know, I share that with him, that I respect what his pops did with him and his siblings, where he was very demanding, expected them to do really good in school and help with the family business. And that drive, that push is what, you know, has led to them having the work ethic they have now, and they've built this awesome business, and they're still growing, you know. And so it has its benefits, you know. It does.
It shows you responsibility, and also hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work pays off. And my pops and my parents were the same thing, man. We had to get A's and B's at school because we had to. Not because they wanted to, because we had to. We had to get those good grades. And they were real strict on us over that, you know. And at the end of the day, like, now I look back, and that's what hard work, you know, that's where it began. Doing hard work at school. I mean, you want to play high school football, you want to do something like that, you got to have the grades for it in order to play. You want to buy something, you want to go out on the weekends, you got to work. That's what my dad always said. He ingrained it with us. He's, showed us what hard work was, what it paid off to be, also because there was a reward at the end.
Yeah.
It wasn't just always, we're not slaving you, but you're getting paid so you can go buy stuff. I had things my friends didn't have, and that's the kind of stuff because I worked at a very young age. We all worked hard. But they gave us everything that we ever needed. Man.
Yeah.
Everything.
I started working at 15, and amongst my friends at the time, I was the one that had the money because I was the only one that had the job.
Right.
And I would go out and I'd be the big spender because
at
my
the
friends
arcades
just
or
wanted
whatever it was.
Whatever it was.
A liquor store, buying down laters and ice creams and this and that. But
that's because my dad put me to work at 15.
Yeah.
In high school, and then been working with him ever since.
The involvement, man. My dad was just always into not only working but finding a job. Like shit, we had vending machines because he had the big buildings. So at all the buildings that he would clean, he had his own vending machines downstairs, or wherever there was. Like, my mom would service the vending machines with my uncle. What else would he do, man? I mean, from selling cobijas to perfumes, like he would find something so my mom can do, also just to make extra money. Extra money, man.
Hustler to the core, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, always. Like, it's just, I don't know. It was something about, I'm pretty sure it's because they never had anything, growing up until where he doesn't ever want to be back in that situation. Because that's me now. Like, I don't ever want to be in a situation where I'm out of money, like zero money or, negative Mondays, overdraft Mondays on my account. That's it. No more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always want to be financially secure and be able to move forward and, be responsible and do things the right way. So I'm not, I'm always going to find a way of making the money to be able to survive and continue. Because life is hard, man.
All right, so final question. What advice would you give anyone considering starting a business?
Be consistent. Be consistent and stick with it. Be consistent, meaning that don't slow down. Just keep going, chop at it. I mean, you're filling up a big jar. It can be a penny a day. It's going to fill up. It's better to have a small, consistent drop than one big pour and then a drought. Because you're going to get a lot of money at once and then it's going to stop and then you're going to have to, try to. But if you have a constant money flow, constant drip of money coming in, little bit at a time, it's going to be consistent. Just keep working at it and don't give up. It's going to get hard, but it'll get easier at the end,
In the last 15 years since you came on board full time, have you considered leaving?
No. But I've slowed things down a little bit for the kids because, I was working as much as my dad did, my oldest is getting older and I really never coached him baseball. I was always the one showing up late and my wife's there with the kids and I'm showing up in my work truck and I'm running, trying to catch his game or doing things like that I kind of want to, soak it all in and be able to be there for them. Watch them grow up is my biggest thing because,
You didn't feel you had that with your pops?
No. My dad was always working, man. Yeah. We went on family vacations sometimes without him because he had to work.
Wow.
Yeah, so, the best family vacation I ever had was in Cancun and he wasn't there. He stayed back home because he had to work. So, but, we would go little places, Ensenada, over the weekends, little things like that, but nothing like, nothing crazy,
So you're trying to make sure you don't repeat the cycle with your kids, or trying now too.
You always want to do better and, kind of be there. I love taking them to practices, like I try to, make it an effort to take him to practice because he's in high school now and pretty soon I'm not going to be able to be at practice with them or be the assistant coach or something like that, so, and help out with him playing, or the other one that's, you know, in band, or taking her to band practice or soccer practice or whatever it is, you know, you got to really pay attention to the kids because they're small, and they're not small for long, man.
You have them one shot.
Shit, you know already. You're, you know, Sean, you know, is an adult already, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's an adult. Brianna's, man, growing up fast, and next thing you know, they're gonna be she's gonna be graduating, and that's it. You know, it's gonna be too late for you to try to do things. You know that, you know, because you were stuck at work, or you were, you know, too busy doing things where.
Before you know it, they're 25 and married.
Yeah.
That's kind of been my jam too for the last few years, is finding that balance, right? For me,
it's hard. It's very hard.
Oh, it's really hard.
It's really hard because it's hard to say no sometimes, and that's my biggest thing. If someone calls me right now and tells me I gotta go somewhere and do something for them, and it's 8:00 at night, I'll do it. I'll do it because it's hard for me to say no. And my wife tells me that all the time. Like, you can't say no to anybody. And like, it's my job, it's my work, you know, like, but you gotta have to sit back sometimes and just, you know, take it down and be like, you know, I'll do that, you know, when I get back, or I'll do that tomorrow, or try to schedule things and be more convenient with your time, because it's very, very little time that we have in a day.
It is a hard.
It's hard.
It is a really hard call to make. It took me literally getting sick to calm the hell down. You know, it was you know, maybe 4 years ago now, something like that. I ended up with, you know, really high blood pressure, and because I was always putting this constant pressure on myself, right, to do the best, and just always just overextending myself, like you said, never saying no. Yes, we can do that. Wow. Yes, we can do it by that day, like always, right? And it wasn't until my body just, it was too much. I ended up, you know, having to, I in the hospital, pues, you know, in the doctor's office, dealing with high blood pressure, and, you know, it had a big, I had to change things. And so I had to accept that, you know, it can't always be perfect. It can't always be within the time frame. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and it's not the end of the world if we say, you know, we need an extra day on that, or it can't be this week, it has to be next week, or what have you. And it was hard to come to terms with that, but I didn't have a choice. Like, my body physically said no mas.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, your health is the number one thing that you need. Like, there's no, I mean, money can't buy us health. Like, even if you wanted it to.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, money isn't everything, man. I mean, your health is number one. Your mental health is crazy too, because there's some times where I'm fucking just going crazy in the head. I can't sleep. I'm tossing and turning. I'm thinking about what I got to do the next day, and like, I try to, like, you know, kind of sit back and like, everything's going to be all right. It's going to work itself out. And it does. Like, it always does.
Yeah, it always does.
But because you're so much, like, you know, like, you're a constant thinker, and you're into the hustle, and you're pushing yourself. Sometimes you push yourself to the limits, man. And that's where the drinking comes involved. And, you know.
Drinking? I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, it's
before up until the point that I got sick, the only escape I had was I would tell my wife, I need to go to the movies. Like, it's time for a trip to the movies, because no matter what, like, you get into the movie theater and your phone is off, you know, you're in silent mode. So those 2 hours or whatever the film length is, it was my only downtime.
I'll fall asleep, dude, in the movie theater.
It happened. It would happen to me too,
because you're so tired,
because you're powering down.
For
those couple.
And you're
hours.
finally getting that REM sleep, because you got music, you got, you know, sound in the background, you got a complete dark thing, and your phone's off, and you're comfortable, and you just. My wife's like, "You pay to go fall asleep." I would pay every day to fall asleep, man. Like, I would, man. That's why I take those CBD gummies sometimes, just to calm myself down and just relax. But because it's a everyday
your mind
struggle.
is going 24/7.
Constantly, man. But it's all part of the job. It's all part of the work. You're your own owner. You got to run the show, and no one else is going to run it for you. So you
got to think of better ways to do things. You got to think of what's next and all that. So I
don't. some people say, "Oh, we got it. It's easy." It's never easy, man. I mean, it's always a struggle. Even if the boat's running good and everything's running fine tuned, there's always something to do, man. There's always something to do that you can never, just take a back seat and relax unless you have someone that's, helping you.
Right. Doing what you've done for your pops.
Yeah. Or someone that knows what you're going to do and you can rely on them and, just take care of it and that's it. But being a business owner is not easy, man. Not everyone is fit for it, neither. Because there's some people that, even if they really wanted to be their own business owners or they have their own companies, they would never be fit for it. Because
it's a combination of things that it takes, right? It's not just smarts. Correct. It's not just hard work. It's a combination of many things. You know, you need the smarts.
And maybe a little bit of crazy.
Stubbornness, right?
Stubbornness.
Maybe stubbornness is the wrong word, but, definitely persistent, right? Like being persistent and driven. Intelligence, of course. I'm not saying that, but it's neither one of those things by itself. It's a combination of all.
We have a couple of employees that would never work for themselves. Yeah, because they're not. They're meant to be told what to do. Like they don't have any self guidance or self motivation for things. Like you tell them, okay, go ahead and clean this area up. Okay, they'll do a great job. But if you don't tell them to do that, they will never do it. Yeah, like they need to be told what to do. Yeah. And that does not make a good owner, a new entrepreneur. If you need to be told what to do, you can't be in business for yourself. You have to know, and you got to take, the approach, the initiative of getting it done. Like, hey, I took care of all this. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Well, that kind of goes back to where you were saying earlier, where you're at some place where you see that sticker, you're like, oh, I got that sticker, I got to take that down.
It's embedded in your mind, man. It's like, it's like if you would see something and you want to take care of it, like, or you see a gun that keeps jamming and this guy doesn't unjam it or doesn't clean it or does something to it, like, what it's got to get done, like, already,
We are now.
So we had some technical difficulties there.
A little bit.
It got too hot.
Too hot.
Yeah. The conversation was too good.
Fucking La FBI, güey.
La FBI. We're being spied on.
We're being spied on, man.
We were in the middle of, we're talking about how, you're talking about how you, in your opinion, not everybody's fit, to be a small business owner. And the many reasons why, right? And so I brought up how it's a very specific, it's a healthy mix of drive, being driven, intelligence, discipline, persistence. It's a healthy mix of all those things, in my opinion, is what it takes, right? And
some people just don't like the responsibility neither.
Oh, a lot of people.
A lot of people don't want the responsibility. I mean,
I 100%, right? Like I've known a lot of people over the years that just don't want to be responsible for anything. They just want to kind of cruise on by.
Yeah.
And so
they're fine with being told what to do, where to go, how much time to work.
Yeah. Or they're just milking the clock.
Yeah.
That too.
They're milking the clock, man. They're at work. They clock in. They go to the bathroom on the clock. They come back, take care of business, clock out, go to lunch, come back. And that's their day, man.
No drive.
We talked about this in the last episode about how it's a lifestyle, right? You're always on. You're forever trying to find that balance, like we said, between family, personal, and the business, and trying to grow the business, so there's so many things that if you worked for somebody else, you didn't have to worry about. A lot of those things you wouldn't have to worry about, and so it's a choice that you have to make consciously, I guess.
I think after the pandemic, though, a lot of people got more and more like wanting to be their own boss, starting their own business.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I mean, Definitely. doing their own hustle, like, whether it was selling stuff on Saturdays and Sundays. Us as Latinos have always done it, I guess, we're just driven that way.
A vender naranjas.
Lo que sea, Jose. Por perfumes, cobijas.
Yeah.
You had the guy that came by and sold clothes to you if you really wanted to, and even credit, a crédito,
Yeah,
So-
we saw a lot of that. We saw a huge spike in new startups, home-based businesses during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And, it made me happy because, in our community here, it's mostly, young Latinos that were doing this. So every week we would get, a young, person coming in talking about how now that we're in the middle of this mess is the opportunity, that they wanted. This is the time to start this thing that they've been thinking about for years. And so they did, right? And so I was happy about it because we saw a spike in, small businesses being started and, finally getting that shot at what if, right? But once things got kind of past the main, what was it, like a year that it lasted, the main shutdown and all that, and people started opening back up, and their job came back online, or for whatever reason, however it happened, a lot of those people just didn't have it in them to keep going because they realized how hard it really was. It sounds, on the surface, it sounds really neat. It sounds like, yeah, of course, who wouldn't want to be their own boss? And I want to have a business, right? But once you get to really do it, and you have to put in that time and that work, it's where a lot of them fall off.
It's the payments, man. It's the, you got to pay your brick and mortar. You got to pay payroll. You got to pay bills. You got to pay the government. You got to pay, Social Security. You got to pay the feds. You got to do all that. You got to pay your taxes, your quarterly taxes or whatever taxes you have. Like, people don't think of all that stuff that comes with it. It's not just, we're doing, if you run a cash-based business, perfect, you can, kind of avoid all that. But if you're running an actual business and you're doing everything properly, you got to pay all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And you got to have money for it, like, you can't just say, we'll start up and get 10 employees. How are you going to pay those 10 employees? And it's not just paying them, it's paying all their wages and also everything that comes with it,
Yeah, taxes.
Yeah.
And
workers' comp, insurances, you name it, man. It's a lot, man. It's a lot of other things that people don't think about. They just think that, you're getting all that money, man. You're getting a big check every time you finish a job or so, whatever it is, monthly. I mean, yeah, but, the way that money comes in, that's the way the money goes out. And, everyone's got to get paid.
But no going back to working for somebody else. Right?
There's no going back, man.
Yeah.
La reversa no sirve en este carro. Puro pa adelante.
Puro pa adelante.
Puro pa adelante. Yeah, man. That's what it comes down to, man. Just keep consistency and driving forward, man. Because not everything's beautiful sometimes. So you go over some humps and bumps and, but
For
you gotta weather the storm, man. Because at the end, there's sunshine. And now, I'm kind of,
You're starting to see the sun.
start to see the sun, the vacations, a little bit more, relax, just,
That's what it's all about. Well, hey, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a minute since we talked shop like this, and I didn't know the backstory about your pops and selling, hustling, stuff like that. I knew about the janitorial service, the vending machines, and obviously the property maintenance, which is the current.
He will sell you a sticker, Jose. Even though you made the sticker, he would still sell you a sticker, man.
Hey.
That's the kind of guy he is, man. He's a hustler. He was, even till now, he wants to he's got works in his mind that he wants to do something with somebody, or like if you talk business with him, he'll say, yeah, let's get together, man.
He's like, I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Good for him.
But I don't know what he's gonna do with all that money, but at the end of the day, but it's all good.
It's funny.
That's what I always tell my mom. ¿Qué va a hacer con tanto dinero, mi papá? No sé. The common Mexican thing. What is he gonna do with all that? Yeah,
Why does he want so much? Why is he? Yeah.
But he's just driven, man, at the end of the day.
Good for him.
Thankful that he's set up everything that he has for us and for me, for my family, for everything, man. And we are here, entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Business owners still, so.
Well, hey, again, thank you. And we'll catch you in the next one.
For sure.
All right.